muted. All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Welcome to the call today, everybody. My name is Lori Zoran. I've been with Zango for a little over a year, and I'm a part of Eric Welch's Team Dynamics. And today we have a lot of energy to channel. For those of us that were at convention, we have post-convention energy that we need to maybe direct and channel in the right directions, and that's what we're going to do in the next hour. And also for those who didn't attend a convention, we're going to give you some insights and highlights in what you can do to pick up on that momentum as well. So it's my pleasure to not only work with, but to introduce our 200K Premier, Eric Welch.
Hey, thanks, Lori.
You're welcome, Eric.
Tanya and Nisa, you guys are still on, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, awesome. Well, welcome, everyone. We are enjoying a blustery beginning of winter day here in Wisconsin, but I'm in my office next to my fireplace, so I'm okay. So if I nod off in the middle of the call, it's a little cozy and warm in here today, so we'll try to have some fun. We're coming back on an emotional high, and we're excited. And if you're kind of new to the Zango story, or even if you're not, here's what we have to realize is all the excitement that's going on right now is not because of hype. It's the excitement that we have is because of the facts. And the more we know the facts, the more exciting it is. And I'm losing sleep now more than I ever have in 3.5 years. And it's just staggering what's going to happen. So we want to share with you a little bit today of what happened recently at convention. If you were there, it'll be kind of nice to reminisce because it was definitely some life-changing moments, some defining moments in not only business life, but just life in general for a lot of people as we continue to get feedback all this last week. And I have some of my wonderful teammates on the phone with me today, and we're going to kind of make this more of a conversation more than just a presentation, so to speak, because it's just once we get flowing on it, I think it'll kind of take on a life of its own. We have a few things we want to cover as well as far as some facts and information for you. I know a lot of people are trying to get their head around the Glimpse story. People are at varying degrees of understanding of what that means to our business and what they should be doing about it or how they should be thinking about it. I happen to have 3 ladies on the phone with me today. However, I'm not a lady, and I'm extremely excited about Glimpse, and I know there's some degree of men are kind of wondering how the Glimpse thing fits into them. Not all, some are. Some aren't. Some already have found their path and their groove with it and have figured out how they're going to approach it. But, we're going to kind of get into some just general ideas here first of what happened at convention, kind of tell some stories of what touched us and what changed us. And what you see here on this first picture is actually a picture of the stage at convention. Pretty awesome. It had a lot of us have a lot of great memories looking up at that stage over last week. And my wife and I happened to be privileged enough to be invited to the black tie dinner on the Wednesday night prior to convention. And it's always a pretty magical thing. And we actually had it in the state capitol building under the rotunda that's like 125 feet high. I've never hardly been in a building like that in my life, much less had a black tie dinner in Zango style, which is totally over the top and more than you'd ever dream of doing for yourself. And it's my wife Heidi and I there with Zango's queen and the architect of the Glimpse project, Beverly Hollister. And down below that is Senator Orrin Hatch, who actually came there and spoke on behalf. He's a big fan of Zango, and he's also a big champion of ours on the government side because, as a lot of you know, we're constantly warring against the forces that be that would love to see supplementation go away so they could control it and control sickness and health in America even more so than they currently do. So he's a huge proponent of our industry, of supplementation and nutrition and all the good things we stand for, and Zango in particular. He's appeared several times at our conventions in the past. That's my wife with Dr. Templeman there in the bottom right. And I'll give you a little bit of a shot of what the inside of the building was like. It had recently gone through renovation, and I was recently in Italy, and with the exception of Italy, I don't think I've been in too many buildings that had that much just marble everywhere. The whole thing was made out of marble. And these are some, in the top right, some great friends we've gotten to know. One of the things that's awesome about Zango is the people you get to meet and become associated with and or learn from and grow together with. And that's Anna and John Mann out of Massachusetts. And so they've become great friends, and we had a great time talking with them and getting caught up with other people from around the world and around the country we've gotten to know over time. So it's always a special time as over time you become familiar with people from all over the place, and it's kind of neat to reconnect with some folks at convention. We had a great time. We had a lot of energy from our team showed up. We had these crazy orange thunder sticks, I don't know what you call them, and so we were totally obnoxious and making all kinds of noise and goofing around, and made it a lot of fun to sit together. This is, I don't think everyone made it in this picture, but this is the majority of the group that made it out there from our team, and I suggest, if you were there, obviously you wish you had more people there with you. No matter how many you have, you always would like to have more because of the impact of these types of events. And, we're going to be talking about it, but there's, events like this continue to happen and will always continue to happen, and it's a matter of promoting them and, having people acting early on the commitment to go. And what they end up doing is they end up working hard prior to the event because they want to go there with a head of steam, and which is good for everyone involved. But so they're a lot of fun. We learn a lot, we get inspired, and it builds a lot of team synergy, a lot of energy, a lot of connectedness that people can work with each other. One of the things you get at a convention is this is a storyteller's business, right? And we're going to be learning this a lot more in Zango here. John Godzich is going to bring us some great training that teaches us that this business is more about promotion than it is anything else, and promotion and telling stories. And one of the things I've always gotten the most of out of these big events is that I learn stories that I can tell later that can relate well to people. But you can't have a story that, you can't tell a story that you never heard. So you have to be there to get the stories in the first place. But those are some of our moments. We really enjoyed having our team there together and having a lot of fun with all of them. They become our friends and our family just as much as people we knew prior to being involved in Zango 3.5 short years ago. And I could tell stories all day long, but I wanted to give a chance for some of our team to actually tell some of their experiences and what convention meant to them. And there's always light bulbs that go off and different emotional switches that go on or off while you're there, mostly on. And what I wanted to have on first, and she can explain these pictures here a little bit. But Lori, are you still on?
I'm on.
All right. Well, Lori, why don't you just tell us a little bit of this is your first convention. You've got involved about a year ago, and your first trip to the big show, so to speak, and what was your impression of it, and what kind of happened for you out there?
Well, first of all, to explain these pictures, for those that don't go to convention or haven't been to a convention yet, they pick a theme every year, and they have a costume party that night, a dance costume party. And our team decided to go with, to back up, the theme this year was speed. And our team looked at that a little bit more creatively, and we thought, well, let's talk about what speed means to us, other than the obvious of racing outfits. And we decided that we were going to go as glimpse bottles for half of some of us that did this, and the other half went as UPS drivers. So our definition of speed was glimpse is speeding up our business, and the delivery drivers are actually working in high-speed overdrive to help support that as well. So that's where the costume comes from.
And it was a hit. You guys were like paparazzi photo opportunities all night long. It was hilarious.
Yeah, no one knew who we were. I think the gig is up. They know it's us now. As far as my takeaways from convention, Eric, you talked about a storyteller's business. We heard many different stories up there, and one of the biggest messages to everybody listening is success comes in all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds. And when you go to convention, you really find people that you identify that you can really bridge some communication gaps with and who will really help support you in this business. Some other takeaways were, there are 3 questions that one of the leaders that spoke said that he wants to know about everybody that joins the organization. And this is something that everybody needs to maybe look inside and determine for themselves, as well as people that they're sponsoring. Question 1 is, why are you here? Question 2 is, what do you want from this? And question 3 is, how to succeed. What are you going to do to succeed? And of all of those questions, be very clear about why you're here. Look inside and find what drives you. And I had heard that someone had said, your why should make you cry. And it really should. I mean, everyone needs to look inside and look deep and find out truly and be honest with yourself about why you are here with this business. That was a pretty big takeaway for me. And to build upon that, it's not easy, but it can be simple if you follow a system and do the right things. And I encourage everyone to revisit your current processes and find what steps you can improve upon to help excel your business. For us, it was some simple steps that were very obvious when we were surrounded by it and hearing it from, a different voice. The support is all around us for our success. We have our company, our upline, our sideline, and there are systems in place to follow. And another takeaway was, we hear so much about your storyboard. There's when I look at my storyboard, there's many great material things that are maybe stepping stones to what I want to accomplish out of life. But I think one thing that was really powerful for me at convention was when you heard Gordon Morton on stage talking about, maybe other multi-level marketing companies that are talking about, successes and starving children. And when you heard Gordon stand up there and say, I'm not going to talk about starving children. I'm going to feed them. And when you really realize that global cause that Zango has, it's pretty powerful. And then you had someone like Carolyn Johnson's comment too about, she's a 200K. Her goal is to be a 500K, and talking about greed. And she said it's not about greed. It's about, if there's a starving child in the world, I have a job to do, and I'm not retiring. And to me, that's pretty powerful. It's a huge cause to be a part of, and it really helps drive your monetary goals. And then you have, the founder's commitment to the company and to their distributors. There's examples like Brian and Kent going through the checkout lines at the stores and talking to the distributors. They don't have to do that stuff, but they just take all that special care because they truly want to be with us. They want to be a part of all of this growth. Then you have people like Beverly and Gary who are, they skip their lunches. We take a break, we all go to lunch, we come back, and there's Beverly and Gary still in the conference room talking to distributors. They're so committed to us and our success and their company and what they've laid before us. And I think one last real important thought that I had is Aaron's story of the perfect storm. He talked about it at convention. He talked about it on a conference call earlier this week. And the perfect storm has been created by the economy, by the products that we have, and by what the founders have laid down before us. And I encourage everyone to take a look. See if your storm is at your doorstep. And if it's not, look a little bit further out in the horizon because it's there and it's coming, and don't miss it. So those are my biggest takeaways.
Awesome. Thanks. Hey, on the meal thing, they threw the number out there, and I think I wrote it down correctly. I think it was like 373,000 meals to starving children just in the last 12 months since they introduced the Zango Meal Pack program. So, an amazing thing is those guys, that's pretty significant impact, I would say. A couple 100,000 meals to starving children, and they hardly talk about it. Honestly, I wish they talk about it a little more, but I guess it's kind of like bragging on yourself. You don't really, it doesn't feel that good to do it, but we need to brag on them. These guys are all about, making this happen for the right reasons. And when you get around them, especially in a context like this where they create this whole experience for us, it's a ton of work on their part in preparation and stress and all these different things that go into it. But they're so meticulous, and they leave no stone unturned that when you get there, it's an experiential thing. It's kind of like, being at Woodstock versus just hearing music that was played at Woodstock. It's a totally different deal. It's a life-changing deal to be there. But, these guys do all that and go through these great lengths and think of every last little detail because they want it to impact us, because obviously if it impacts us, it gives them the opportunity to be the change agent in the world that they really want to be. And, we just need to, I think, as distributors, think more about that and maybe even brag on them a little more because of that. Because in the world we live in today, when there's corporate scandals and, different things, it sure is nice to be associated with a company that not only am I not afraid to say their name, I'm absolutely proud to wear a Zango jacket around, and I hope someone asks me what Zango is because I'd love to tell them about it, And one of the things that I was speaking with a high-level business person this week, and he was commenting on how he calls it the old economy with the old currency, and what he's meaning is what we've always traditionally known. And he said, now we have the new economy with the new currency. And he said, the new currency of the day is relationships, it's networks, it's name recognition, what your brand and your company stand for, what you stand for as a person. He says that's the new currency of our new economy. And I thought, and this guy was just looking at getting involved in Zango, and I thought, boy, he's telling our story already. He already understands why a company like Zango is breaking records and doing things that are not only uncommon but unprecedented and never unexpected as well. So exciting stuff for sure. Well, thanks, Lori. I know you're going to share some more things as we go, but so I'll keep you on here. But Tanya, are you still with us?
I am.
All right, Tanya. Well, Tanya's been involved on our team for a couple years and had a chance to actually been to a few conventions before. And as I think everyone was there would agree, this was far and away the biggest, best thing that we've ever been to for a Zango function. But why don't you share with us a little bit of your thoughts?
All right. Well, Eric, first off, thank you on behalf of all of us. We just appreciate you having us on this call today. And you spoke at convention, and we had the honor and privilege to listen to you actually twice. And you just did a phenomenal job, Eric. I'm not saying that just because you are our team leader. I'm saying that with just extreme pride in you and Heidi for the leadership that you have shown to our team. You spoke about defining moments in your life, and we all know that Joe Morton, he had defining moments in his life. He learned about health and nutrition as a young, man, and took that, to form Zango, and that part of his life, and that's how this company came to be. Beverly had defining moments in her life with her mother dying of cancer in her arms, and now bringing Glimpse to the forefront and changing this whole industry. And for my husband and I, we just to see their heart is a defining moment for us, and also a statement that you made about being a hero to your wife, Eric. It's a powerful, powerful statement. And I know that for Paul and I guess I challenge all of you out there that, we can all be heroes to our spouses and our significant others and, our family, and as well as to our team in Zango, because we have an opportunity right now to change people's lives with what we have in front of us. And that's really exciting. And Eric, leadership, you stated, means that you go first. And we, just thank you for you and Heidi going first and paving the way for us, because now it's time for all of us to, ramp it up and show our team that we can go as leaders. And there's some other important points that we heard over the weekend just about growing our business. Gordon Morton talked about, always promote a meeting from a meeting. We just had convention. We're talking about the highlights today, and we need to start talking about Vegas. Vegas is coming up in April. We need to talk about the Glimpse tour that's happening right now, and to get our teammates plugged in, and as well as the three important things that Cindy Samuelson spoke about in our businesses, that number one, we need to love and use our products. Mm-hmm. We have incredible products. We also have to show, the business, the plan, present it to people, and then also attend events and trainings. Those are the three important things that we need to do in our business all the time. Tommy Johnson talked about working depth in your business, and these are just some of the takeaways that I wrote down. Another quote that we heard was from Andrew Carnegie that I believe Kent Wood spoke about. As far as teamwork goes, we need teamwork is the fuel that allows common people to attain uncommon results. And so we have team dynamics. We have an incredible team to capture uncommon results. And John Gossage also spoke about this, and he spoke about on the beaches of Normandy, and how the men, when they landed on the beach, how even though 90% of those men died, that the ones that continued on, and the ones that continued on and seeing their other gentlemen being killed on the beach, that they had these seeds of greatness inside of them that just kept moving them forward and moving them forward. And we all have those seeds of greatness in us. And I ask all of you that are on the call today, what seeds of greatness are in each one of you?
Absolutely.
Because Sherman Onkefer, he just lost his wife. He went through an experience that, just, I feel for the man. But you know what he did is he vows to be a leader. He was at convention, and he says, no matter what the circumstances, I'm going to challenge you all to do the same things in your life. And so I guess that's where I'll end it, is just, we need to challenge each and every one of us, no matter what's happening in our lives, whether, what's going on. That's life. And we need to just get on this wave and ride it, because, this is exciting. This was a life-changing event for us. And so we had a ball. And obviously in this picture we had a lot of fun, too. So
we're not afraid to have fun, right? Nothing like
no.
making business with fun. And there's not many things in today's business world that have much to do with fun at all. And, one of the moments for me was when the opening sessions, both Kent and Joe and Aaron spoke, and they referred to the economy, and they talked about how, the whole world economy, the markets of the world are frozen, and it boils down to really one thing: fear. And it's got the whole world locked up because of fear. And it's no different in our business. Here we have the most staggering opportunity laying right in front of us. And some people haven't even recognized that yet, unfortunately, but there's, obviously it's just starting, so that's not too terrible of a thing if they haven't really caught it yet. But, there's people that because of the economy, they will think that this is a bad time to do business. In essence, it's exactly the opposite. I mean, Zango had the biggest month ever in their 6-year history, October 2008, which also was the worst time in my 35 years on Earth, as far as economic doom and gloom and, world banks collapsing left and right, and, largest insurance corporation in the world, tanking, and, all these things going down the drain, and yet Zango's had his biggest boom month ever. We're a Noah's Ark to the disaster people are trying to avoid. The reason people are laying awake at night is, several things. But the economy, uncertainty, fear, they don't feel in control of their life. They don't feel in control of their health. They got health problems that are taking them down physically and also financially. What do we bring to the table? What are we offering people when we go to talk to them? See, we got to realize when we go to talk to people right now in today's age, we need to go with the attitude that we are offering them something, and not that they're doing us a favor by listening to us. I think a lot of times people have a neediness about it, like, geez, could you maybe please sort of check out my DVD for me? We've got the answer. We've got what people are looking for. They just need to recognize it. The only reason why someone would not be involved with us right now is they just don't understand it, period. There's no logical reason why someone wouldn't want to be a part of what we're doing.
Right.
Whether it's helping people, changing lives, educating people, being part of a cause and a movement, bringing something exciting, being a part of an exciting group of people, being part of a reputable company that's, one of the biggest business stories of our generation happening right before our eyes. What part of that do you not like the most? Sorry, I just don't really get it, But it's just a matter of educating them. So we have to come at it with realizing, if anything, we're doing them a favor by bringing it to them. And not that you have to be cocky about it, but your internal mechanism of, you're going to be really glad I'm about to bring up what I'm about to bring up with you. They'll feel that, and they will respond correctly instead of their preconceived ideas, because people get stuck in the mud. And they're stuck in the mud with the economy. They're stuck in the mud with the misery of their life and, different areas. And sometimes we need to help them shake them out of it, and we got to come up with a little jolt of something and get them out of that position so they can hear what we have and not miss this, because it's staggering what we have. But anyway, getting myself all fired up.
And also, Eric, to transform that suffering, transform that depression, whatever it is, that anxiety, into greatness, because action overcomes fear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess activity and achievement is a great thing to help you get a different perspective on something, but you have to start, right? And Nisi, why don't you your first convention as well, and you've been involved with us less than a year, but you're on the fast track as well as how Lori and Tanya are. But just wanted to why don't you share with us a little perspective of yours coming into this. I'll show a picture of Nisi hanging out with the chairman of our company, Gary Hollister, and as we mentioned earlier, the Queen Glimpse diva herself, Beverly Hollister. So Nisi, take it away for a couple minutes.
Oh, absolutely. If I sound a little shaky and my stomach's a little shaky, I'm a little giddy because I just returned home from a event this morning, and so I sat in the living room with a young couple that's part of my organization, and they have just been flying since convention. They came to convention, and they have been inspiring me so much because they have had action almost every single day since we've been back from convention, and they had this deal planned this morning. Actually, what they end up doing is while we're at convention, at one of the breaks, they went and texted all these friends and said, I need you to be at my house on this Saturday, and la la la. And so it ended up turning out that this morning I was there sharing the story of Glimpse and Zango with this young group of they're 20 to 23 years old, and so that has inspired me tremendously. If there's one thing that I seriously took away from that, is that right now we are in position to help the group of young people, like I was sitting in the living room with this morning, realize some dreams that they have. A lot of them are in college and things like that, and but just to realize some of the dreams that they may have, and that there's something out there that they can do that will catapult them to making those dreams a reality. And to see these young people is just absolutely amazing to me. And just to reiterate on what Eric was saying, as far as the not sleeping, I tell you what, before convention, I wasn't sleeping. Since convention, it's just been a mess, and a fun mess. My husband was like, you were tossing and turning again last night. I'm like, I know, I should have just gotten up and emailed people, but it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. They'll think I was nuts, But one of the things, and then I've been involved in 7 months, and this has been I want to say the best 7 months of my life, as far as looking at the growth that this team has catapulted me to. Tanya, you mentioned, and you just lifted up Eric and Heidi, and I just want to reiterate that. Eric and Heidi, you have helped me and so many people I know set down some goals, look at the challenges, and go at the challenges at full speed without fear, and having a posture of, this is real, and yes, we have to share this message. Right now, we are on the brink of a health and wellness opportunity here with Glimpse like never before. There are so many people that couldn't get their minds around the juice, and I've had several Glimpse meetings this week, and I'm not even talking about Zango the juice, but inevitably people are, so tell me something about that juice. You guys have a juice, right? And, so as people are buying Glimpse and getting this pure, clean, and green product into their hands, on the flip side of that, they're saying, okay, so this works this way on the outside. Tell me some more about that juice. So I believe, without a doubt, that as we share this amazing product of Glimpse, that people are going to actually, on their own, inquire about the juice, and our businesses are going to skyrocket just that much more.
And I think, and you've been seeing this in, the different events you've been hosting and the different meetings and things you've been doing, and it's it's happening a lot, and
Mhm.
it's almost, I think what we're experiencing is, especially with the juice, it's such a foreign idea to drink an exotic. I mean, it's not as foreign now as it used to be. I mean, now you've got super juices in every grocery store in America, but they weren't there 3 years ago. So it's still on the verge of a new idea to drink powerful nutrition, and your body can respond to these exotic fruits and things that are out there. You know, pomegranate is big now and different things, but it's almost like people had a hard time. It's such a unique idea, but skincare is not. You don't have to. There's no woman in America you have to convince that skincare is a good idea. And men, within that, men is the fastest growing category of desiring skin, care and products, and maybe from a slightly different angle or a different motive, but obviously it's still important. And statistics are out there that it's the fastest growing segment within the wellness revolution is men's desire for high-end skincare. But obviously it's still dominated by women, but it's a fun thing to be part of both sides of it. And so I think one of the things that, obviously we're all excited about Glimpse, and it's new and it's exciting, and I think it's going to be a great vehicle to ride on. We obviously never want to forget our hero product, the juice, but as we're seeing, people won't let us forget about it, even if we mistakenly, in our excitement about Glimpse, forgot to say a whole lot about it. They're asking about it. So, okay, but tell me more. The first $1.5 billion your company did was with that product in that bottle sitting over there. What's the story with that? And
Right.
And people are going home with a couple boxes of Glimpse, and they'll give me a couple boxes of that juice, and so it's going to actually, I'm convinced it's going to increase our juice sales as we're out there. And no, you don't have to do it this way. This is just something a lot of people are excited about because of the newness of it, and because it's a different message and it's a different market we can go after. But I think leading with Glimpse may open the door easier than leading with the juice, but then the juice message is still as strong as it ever has been. The need for that and the attractiveness of that certainly hasn't diminished any, but now the door gets open to their mind a little easier perhaps with Glimpse for some people, not all, but some people it could be. And so very exciting to see that which used to be theory, but now we've been doing this enough that it's actually becoming reality, that people are and it's a classic example of the less you, like how underselling and understating something always works better. The more we're kind of like, oh yeah, the juice is fantastic. I mean, it takes, it's the world's most potent, powerful, natural anti-inflammatory, does miracles for people in their health, with existing conditions and/or prevention. Oh, it's fantastic. And now we're putting it on the skin, and then we start to go talk about a topical application of this wonder fruit. And they go, well, wait. My husband has diabetes and my kid has asthma. Tell me more about the juice, And so very exciting dynamic at play that is making it much. And, here's the other thing I never thought of is the story of the mangosteen is so legitimized now, because here you have a company that there's two category-creating products, two huge massive ideas, each one of which could be a separate company. They just happen to be combined under one. And so the power and the story and the potency of Glimpse legitimizes the juice, and the juice legitimizes the Glimpse. So people are no longer questioning the wonders of the mangosteen as like they were in the beginning when they hadn't heard of it. So it's making all products containing mangosteen have this little bit of an assumption that they must be absolutely fantastic, because how could you base several billion-dollar brands on this fruit? It's not logical. So, so speaking of Glimpse, let's kind of as moving forward and as we get into some of the Glimpse discussion, you guys, I want to you guys can just pop in and we can kind of keep it conversational here. So,
well, Eric, before you go on to these slides, which keep them there, but about to talk about Las Vegas and the regional and everything that's coming up. One of the things that I really took from convention, and Tanya and I stood at one point, and I don't know, Tanya, if you remember, but we stood at one point at the front of the arena, and we're standing there, and people are taking pictures, and we both looked at each other. And for me, it was such an emotional thing, but we looked at each other and we said, and I know that you were thinking, I was thinking at the same time, that this is absolutely amazing. And then we spoke about, we can't give this to people, what we get at convention. We could try to relay it, but to those of you that are on the phone, on this call, I don't think we can just really express enough. You get something at these events that no one could ever put into you. This wave is so absolutely amazing, but to see those founders, to see Beverly and Michelle Hughes, and as they're walking around, they're not just up there, oh, I'm not touchable, but as they're walking around and sharing their vision with you one-on-one and how huge this is and their passion behind it. People, seriously, if you don't have a ticket yet, get one. Your business will explode. You as a person and your personal growth will just be catapulted. One of the things I took away from the keynote speaker, Vincent, I always mess up his last name, so I'm not going to even try to say it, but he talked about the Olympics, and when he first thought about being a part of the Olympics, he ended up buying a ticket. I'm just going to give the short version. He ended up buying a ticket and being in the stands. But a friend of his that he knew, as he's at this Olympics, and the opening ceremonies are going on, and here comes his friend in the opening ceremonies in the Olympics. And one of his things that he said to us, are we going to be an observer in the stand with a ticket, or are we going to be a part of the game? And the only way I believe that you can seriously be a part of the game is getting to these events, getting to the big ones, because it will seriously change your lives.
Great job, Nisi.
I feel like wrapping up the call at the end of
Well
that.
said.
Well, okay, so here's the other, the good news and the bad news of Las Vegas event. As of right now, unless they can find a bigger facility, it's already sold out.
Oh.
And obviously, people, some of your upline or crossline, you may have some friends who you can beg, borrow, and steal an extra ticket from in case they have one. But, that's another advantage of being at an event is you got first rights to get into the next event. And so big time stuff going on. There's this Glimpse tour that's going on. If you're at all within any drivable distance of that Glimpse tour, it's going to be knocked down fantastic, as well as the 6-hour trainings that John Godzich is doing across the country, where he's talking about Phase 2 leadership and giving very specific how-to information for 20Ks and up across the land. So obviously, if you're in that category, you want to get yourself to one of those. We're having one here on a Saturday, November 22nd, in Green Bay, and we're having John in on the 23rd, so you're welcome to come from anywhere you are in the country. We have a nice small little airport in Green Bay you can fly into. You won't get lost. But so these events are, they always have been life-changing. They always will be. Now people are starting to really catch on to this, and obviously the ticket sales are an indicator of how big a deal this is. So I had a hard time, and Art is hosting one of these. That's why he's not on the webinar today. He's actually hosting one of these big Saturday events today up in the Seattle area. And so, you want to take advantage of all these things, obviously, as much as you can. But Art had mentioned doing a convention recap, and I really had a hard time dedicating a whole call to talking about the recap, because to me, that's like a week ago. That's like in the past. It's like I'm so future-oriented right now, I can't even stand it. And so I didn't want to just leave this call without talking a little bit of something about where's this thing going, and why might you want to lose some sleep tonight, in case you aren't already. But look at this slide. Check this out. So Zengel did $1 billion in the first 5 years, right? We've heard that before. But give you some perspective on that from in our own industry. I could give you outside of the industry, but just picture this inside the industry. Amway took 20 years to accomplish that feat. Nu Skin, 15 years, and Forever Living, 22 years. Those are all multi-billion-dollar international gigantic companies today, right? And but that's what happened in the first 5 years. And Aaron Garrity shared that by the end of our 6th year in business, we will have gone to $1.5 billion in 6 years. In that period of time, what you see there is a new pin that they gave out to 54 different distributors in our company that have cumulative commissions of $1 million or more. Several of them do a couple $1 million a year, but that's what the club's 54 people in the first 6 years. Okay, arguably the hardest 6 years in Zango's existence as a company, because the things we have now we didn't have 2 or 3 years ago or 4 years ago. You know, it's different now. There's way more lubrication on the tracks. You know, the speed game is here. And I think Kent shared with us at dinner at the 100K that there's going to be 15 more people joining the club when the commission checks for November were cut. So you're looking at 69, you know, basically almost 70 people have earned $1 million in commission. You know, amazing. I mean, that's just, you know, to say that that's a little bit unusual. Imagine this: $1.5 billion in sales. That means $750 million have been paid out in commissions already. So when we do $1 billion in sales per year, that's $500 million in commission being paid out, $30 million in the global bonus pool alone. I don't know if you could find a company on the face of the earth that pays $500 million a year in commissions. And that's just the start. What about when we're a $4 million company and we pay $2 billion a year in commission? I mean, it's just what's going on here. We have to recognize the fact that what we have our hands on isn't, you know, maybe what we were first thought of it as. It's way bigger, it's staggering what we have our hands on, and people need to feel that from you when you're talking to them. We have to recognize it first, though, before we can give it to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So on the Glimpse story, and I just want to give you guys some, I mean, the Glimpse story is big. We'll have, I'm sure there'll be a lot more training and things coming. I just wanted to throw out a few things and a couple ideas, because the easy part of the Glimpse story for people to catch is the product is crazy fantastic. I mean, dramatic results. You know, people have been using it for a week or two, and almost everyone you're talking to they're like, oh my gosh, this stuff's crazy. They can see it. It's visible. It's not like I can't look at my liver and say, oh, wow, my liver's looking great today from drinking the juice. But so it's very different. You know, I don't walk up to Bob and say, Bob, your cholesterol's looking fantastic. What are you doing different these days? You know, but visible things is going to create a firestorm of activity, because people can't help but talk about it. People are asking you about, man, you're looking great. And I unfortunately didn't have a chance to, my scanner isn't working, or don't know how to work it, one of the two, I'm not sure, but I have these scans we did there, and I'll show them in the future, but basically it gives you a very high-end electronic analysis of one set. I've been doing one set, half my face with Glimpse for 5 weeks at that point, and the other half without it. And the differences in percentage-wise on this statistical analysis in 6 different categories is staggering, anywhere from between 8 to 10% better up to 30% better on things like wrinkles and pore sizes and UV damage and bacteria on my skin and textures and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So I'll show that in the future, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more examples of that. But that part's going to be simple. The part I think people could miss is the fact that what we have behind the Zango story is as much what's not in it as what is in it. And one of the ways we've been helping people see that is if you get the back of your Glimpse box and turn it over, the entire back of the box is writing. And what the writing is, it's ingredients. You kind of get the feeling that everywhere they can, they plaster the ingredients. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And point this out to people. We're pretty proud, obviously, of what's in our product, and we're probably just as proud of what's not in our product. And the non-toxic side of this thing, the fact that this is a powerful, results-driven formulation, but coming without harm, without potential harm, without toxins, without allergens, without problems with it, is a whole new idea. And that's where the new category is being created here. Is there's very natural products that just don't do much for you, but at least they don't harm you any. And then there's high-performing products that watch out what it's doing to you long-term. Now we're coming in the middle. We're saying, okay, we're taking this green chemistry and the technology of the day that's available to us now that was never available never available before, and combining that with high performance. And then the amazing thing is the timing of it. Not only is the timing of the economy working on our side, I live in middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. This isn't where trends start, This is where we get trends 10 years after the fact. But even the green movement is even here. And I couldn't have said that a year or two ago. Okay, but the green movement is here, live and well. And so what that means is that people are looking for different things now, right? And so I'll come back to this green movement here for a minute. I want to show you something here. So this is Pat Peterson, Executive Director of Research and Development for Aveda. Aveda is owned by Estee Lauder, the largest skincare corporation in the world, personal care products. And Aveda is kind of known as their cutting edge and high end and natural and exclusive and et cetera, right? We all have Aveda spas and salons around our homes. So the Executive Director of Research and Development, in other words, new product development, right? The king, the top of the pile, Pat Peterson, a year ago when asked, what are some hot natural ingredients to watch for in the coming year in the personal care sector? And here, look at her answer. Something that's really coming on strong is a class of ingredients called polysaccharides, which is very heavily in the mangosteen, obviously. Very complex plant sugars. We've been looking at those very closely, but because they do amazing things. Essential oils are also a very large area. And mangosteen has been on the fringes of the nutrient world and is very interesting for all sorts of things. So let me get this straight. So the Research and Development Director for the future of Aveda, right, that's what she'd be working on, when asked what's hot, on the tip of her tongue are polysaccharides, essential oils, and mangosteen. So to me, this is, okay, so they're in the back room already for a few years tinkering with the mangosteen, trying to figure out how to make it the next big thing in skincare, right? Because you need to be having the next big thing to gain market share in a very competitive space like the $35 billion, personal care and skin nutrition industry. Well, that's pretty exciting considering Estee Lauder and Aveda is as big as it gets. What they didn't know, unfortunately, a year ago, is that we already owned it. We locked it up, okay? We totally eliminated the chance for them to come play in our space. We own this space. Way more than we even own the juice. We own the mangosteen category as an idea, and now we own the idea of mangosteen in skincare, period. And I'll probably talk more about that in the future sometime. I just wanted to put this out there that's how big what we have is. The biggest company in the world was looking at this being the next it, right? And we have it, and it's ours, and they can't have it. It's done. It's over with. Too bad. Sorry. Go try something else, right? So pretty cool thing. But here's where I want to go back to that green story. So the green movement is here, and what's following right behind the green movement is this desire for toxin-free products, okay? Now that it's way more at the beginning stages than the green movement is. But look at some of this stuff. USA Today, toxic chemicals in teen cosmetics, September 2008, okay? Talking about how and there's a lot of them, and I didn't put them all in here, but there's a lot of this starting to bubble up, right? And the funny thing is when it happens, people get mad. They get upset. Mm-hmm. Look at this. 2005 Skin Deep report. Research found that 33% of personal care products linked to cancer, 45% possibly harmful to the reproductive system or baby's development, 60% act like estrogens and disrupt hormones. And we live in a world where people are scratching their heads and they can't figure out why. There's a 800% increase in autism over the last 25 years, and why 40% of all children in America today under the age of 10 have one or a combination of autism, ADD, ADHD, allergies, or asthma. It's a big mystery. We really can't quite figure that one out. Why is it 80+% of all fibromyalgia is women? Same thing with lupus, same thing with rheumatoid arthritis, depression, hormonal issues, etc. Why? Because women, on average, use about 3 times as many personal care products in any given day, and they use them much more consistently. Therefore, they're far more exposed to these things, as well as cleaning products and different things like that they may. I know I have to admit my wife is more exposed to cleaning products in her home than I am, but it's not. So not only is it an important message that we're carrying, but here's the thing that struck me when Art was actually. By the way, a lot of you guys on the call are on Art Manville's team. He was the highlight of the Speakers for MIA convention. He came there on a mission, and he totally fulfilled it. It was just amazing. I had tears in my eyes, and I just thought he was amazing. And one of the things that clicked for me while he was talking was that we are the company, we are the army of equipped people out there to go educate people and raise awareness of this. Because guess what? A few people with a few books in their hand, like Stacy Malkin, I'll show her book here in a minute. She spoke at our convention, but guess what? Stacy Malkin is not single-handedly going to change the scope of the products that people use. It isn't but you send out 30, 40, 50,000 glimpse distributors who are equipped with a message. See, when you're unaware, you don't know what you don't know. But once you're aware, you can't go back to being unaware. And as we start to make people aware of what's going on, not only is the product great and beauty is the byproduct and it feels healthy and you look great and it can help with skin conditions of all different kinds, and we're already hearing amazing stories of what it's doing for different things, acne and eczemas and all those types of things. But on top of that, we're part of the do no harm message and a change agent for the entire industry to wake up. And as we awaken people to demand something better, corporations are going to have to start giving us something better, and Zango is going to be a big part of providing those products. And this is just a start. The skincare is just a start. They're going to continue to roll out, more things for us. But here's one, and since there's, 3 ladies on the phone, if one of you guys wants to take this one, has to do with the breast cancer awareness that's out there.
I think the big thing that I want to draw to this, and Tanya, I know you can add quite a bit. Nisi, you probably can too, but the quote, more American women. This isn't worldwide women. It's American women that have died of breast cancer in the last 20 years than the number of Americans killed in those 4 wars that are listed, which is, for those of you that aren't on a computer right now, World War I, World War II, Korean War, and the Vietnam War combined. Tanya or Nisi, do you want to add to that powerful statement?
One of the things I want to add, and something I actually just learned from one of the young people I was with this morning, is that statistically, women that have had breast cancer, it is usually the left breast, because most people are right-handed. And so when they're putting on deodorants and things like that, and the parabens that are in those, so the left side is getting more concentration over there. And so when I was informed of that this morning, I started thinking of the ladies that I know, and it is very, very true. And so it is really a startling fact.
Anya, do you have anything to add to this?
Sure. The statement that you made about more American women, and why is that? You asked that question. It's because Europeans have drawn a line in the sand, and they have their standards higher. And the beautiful thing about Glimpse is the formulation is done to a global standard. So we can ship this globally. We're all set to work in other countries and to be able to ship it, a global formulation that everyone can use. So as Eric said, this is so important to know it, because this is going to elevate the standards here in the U.S. Yes. Very exciting.
I agree. And I guess, Eric, just to wrap up on this comment, Nisi, you had mentioned that statement about being right-handed. You and I aren't in the same city. I have heard that here. This is really a call to action. I've heard that same statement. And in Madison, there's another statement that came out from the UW hospital there, that they're noticing that more women in their 30s and 40s are getting breast cancer, and it's not the hereditary gene. Well, why is that? It's the products that we're using.
Well, here's the awareness that's awakening. I went on Amazon.com. Now I own the bottom, not just a pretty, which by the way I put a star on that one. If you want to get yourself educated and equipped for this toxin-free movement that we're going to lead as a company, hopefully in the world, but certainly we're way ahead of the curve in America, that Not Just a Pretty Face is probably the first book you want to get and read that will awaken you to this conspiracy of totally unknown, to the average person. But look at all these books that are out there, and these are, recent things that are popping up. The world's waking up to this. People aren't going to stand for it. And here's the thing I totally underestimated being a guy doing this, is I did not understand the power of this mission. The cause behind this thing is going to drive Glimpse as hard and as fast as the product results and as hard and as fast as the paychecks. Okay, because there's a whole lot of, because here's what I'm seeing, and I finally figured this out by asking enough people, and most of them, all it took is reading that book, and now they're just on a mission. They're a crusader for this thing. And wouldn't you love to have a few thousand crusaders on your team, right? Doing good and building a business, doing good for themselves while they do good for others. And so this movement is, growing fast, and it's but it's just starting. That's amazing. We're just starting as a company. We're just starting as a new category of product. And think of the timing. This green movement, this toxin-free movement. I'm 35 years old. This will probably be one of the most dramatic economic impact trends in my lifetime. It's going to happen right before my eyes, and here we are standing right at the beginning of it, and we know about it now. Let me go to the next slide here. But by the way, so that's a great book you're going to want to get. This is an example of something my wife came up with just to help people see this. When we do glimpse gatherings and home spa parties and whatever you want to call them, everyone's got a different version of what they call them, but basically getting people together. And one of the big things that we're doing that just gets it very interactive and very fun, and this is a version that she came up with, there's other versions out there, is she made up, this is a poster board, and it's got these 30 dozen, the 12 most dangerous, and pretty much the jury's not even out anymore. It's just conclusive that this stuff is terribly nasty, but it's unfortunately terribly common as well. And so they'll pass out a whole bunch of personal care products across the room, and everyday products. I mean, one of them that really upset me was like Johnson's baby bedtime lotion or something like that. And the number one ingredient in there, the first ingredient after water, is propylene glycol. Propylene glycol is the same thing they spray on airplanes to de-ice them. And you see them wearing hazmat suits when they do it. It's this idea actually, this chart was actually Brooke Barker's idea, which is on your team, Nisi. So that's where the idea actually got it from.
Yeah, we just did this morning at the event I was at this morning, and we had people bring some of their products that they use personally, like that they used that morning. And I tell you what, this is a interactive deal here, but it really opens up the mind of the people when they look and think, oh my goodness, this is something I've been putting on me. And it does, when you said, Eric, that it actually gets people angry when they really look and find out what our cosmetic industry has allowed to happen.
And here's the question that commonly comes up. Okay, now that I'm aware that this garbage is in here, now what am I going to use, right?
Exactly.
You don't even have to, they're ready for a solution. You just made them aware that you need a solution for a product line that you can trust. And guess who's going to provide it? We are. And we're so far ahead of the curve. We're going to own this marketplace and this idea in the mind of the consumer, because doing things like these boards and different versions that people are going to do. There's a new CD out called The Cosmetic Conspiracy by David Butler, and it talks about these 12. He calls them the Toxic 12. And same idea. And very energizing for people and gets them riled up, and you can't just ignore it, because once you hear it, you know it's true. It's just no one had heard it before, and that's why he calls it the Cosmetic Conspiracy, because it's kind of like this quiet little secret, So one of the ways we use that is you could have people just come up and pick one of those things off there, and then turn it over on the back, and it reads what's in it, and what it like. For example, sodium hydroxide is the only ingredient in Crystal Drano. Well, it's got skull and crossbones on the back, right? It's like terribly toxic. No one's surprised about that. Well, then why is sodium hydroxide in toothpaste or, children's toothpaste on top of that, where it says, keep out of reach of children under 6 years old and do not swallow? It's children's toothpaste. My 2-year-old eats this stuff. Do not swallow? What are you talking about? And none of us read the labels in this stuff. Guess why? Because I shouldn't have to read the label of children's toothpaste to see if it's safe for my kid to use. I shouldn't have to read the label of Edie's Apple Crisp ice cream to check if there's propylene glycol in it halfway down the ingredient list. And guess what there is? Guess why? It's so easy to scoop out, because it's nice and slippery. why is, Chips Ahoy Chewy cookies, why will they be chewy 20 years from now yet? Because they got petroleum products in it. It's just obscene, and we wonder why everyone's sick and got diabetes and phantom pain issues going on, and no one can quite put a finger on what's going on, and everyone's getting more and more sick, and kids are getting sick. My kids are growing up in the first generation in America where they are less healthy than the generation before. That's a bad sign. That's a bad omen for the future of our country, and just, anyway, so obviously there's a lot of energy behind this. We can get really passionate behind this movement, and that will drive this just as much. So there's three forces behind this thing. It's, the cause, the money, and the product. Don't miss one or two of them because you're excited about one, because someone else in your group may be as much or more excited than one of the other ones. As you can tell, I'm a little excited about it.
And Eric, you talked about the health and wellness revolution in Paul Pilsner's book. Health and wellness revolution is so huge right now, and Glimpse is at the brink right here with the passion, the mission, and the opportunity. And one of the things that I gathered from convention that will stick with me forever, and I don't know if it was Gordon, they all were so amazing, but they quoted Gandhi, and he talked about fear. Doing the things that we fear the most, and fear searching to die. And so going out here with a posture that we have the solution, we have the answer. So let's go out there with that posture of no fear and share what we have with the people that are out there. And health for your families and wealth is inevitable. It's going to happen.
This is one of the slides also on there that goes along with that, Nisi, is I think Aaron shared this. Crisis, if how you write it in Chinese, has two symbols to it. One means danger and the other means opportunity. And, we're in a financial crisis. We're in a healthcare crisis. We're in this personal care toxic crisis as we become more and more aware of the damage it's doing. But within that, obviously there's opportunity hidden within that. And as we start this new category, one of the statements he made is, most people just participate in a category like cell phones and, different things like that long after the fact, but other people create it. And we've got a chance to be a part of the creating it. For example, here's another, example I've used before, but let's come back to it. Apple Computer, they created a new category in an iPod, totally dominate the whole industry. That MP3 music, player industry, they own 80+% market share. I doubt anyone's ever going to even remotely catch them. Most companies are just forgetting about it and cashing in the towel, not even trying. And now they're, talking to you on an iPhone right now. And the iPhone is a whole new category, a whole new idea within a very established marketplace, the cell phone industry, and, totally dominating it. Just, $1 million in sales in the first few hours after they released that iPhone. Well, Zango comes along and tackles the nutrition industry, the supplementation industry with a new idea, a fresh idea in Zango Juice, and it's been copied, extensively since then, and a lot of people are trying to get in on it because they started a trend that everyone else wants to make a few bucks off of, and there's some other, products that are okay out there, and juices, they're all good for you, orange juice and grapefruit juice and everything, but this idea of a highly potent anti-inflammatory in a juice form was a whole new idea, and it still is an idea that's unique to us. But now we take this idea, we take Glimpse, and we go after a whole new segment, a whole new category of products, and we create a whole new idea within this very established across the world. It's into the, dozens of billions of dollars, and we come up with the most bright and, extravagant idea in 20, 30 years in a brand new industry. It's pretty easy to see where the writing is. The writing's on the wall where this thing is going if you look at all the trends. And so as we enter phase 2, here's Aaron Garrity, one of his quotes he said last year when those of us, we didn't know what he knew when he made this statement a year ago. He knew all this stuff was coming, right? He knew what the future held. We just didn't know it yet because, we're not privy to the information until it's coming out. But during our first 5 years, we achieved things never before seen in the history of direct sales. We're only getting started. Our next 5 years will mark the greatest global expansion in market development undertaken by a single company in the history of our industry. A 63-year-old industry of direct sales, $100 billion worldwide per year go through the direct sales industry. And we're the company that the standard by which all companies are measured, not only in America, in the whole world, quickly becoming I talked to Steve Tan, 200K out of Malaysia, and he said Zango is the standard, even in countries we're not even in yet. We're the standard by which other companies are measuring themselves before we even get there. You just happen to be part of it. So this international explosion is happening. What we never saw before at conventions was a huge amounts of new premiers and new leadership popping up in other countries. Just as a picture, just as an example, there's 8 new premiers at least, maybe even more, out of Taiwan. Taiwan just opened in January of 2008, and 9 new premiers in Norway in 2008, which opened a few months before that. So the international explosion is here, and and you can build internationally from anywhere you want to. It's a global world. You can connect anyone through the internet. So as was referred to earlier, we have the perfect storm. The systems are now in place. The founders' brilliance and track record and integrity and heart and vision is no longer questionable if you're paying attention at all. The economy is working for us. The economy is totally cooperating with our timing. I mean, it's just amazing. Brand new category again. We've created a category once. Now we just created a category a second time. Global expansion is just starting to roll out, and the distributor leadership has had chance to season, and now there's ready to move forward with tremendous force into this second wave, which will totally eclipse anything that happened in the first wave. So when I open up, then you guys wanted to comment on any of that.
I think the corporate statement really sums this up too. It's a ground floor business opportunity right now, and we have the proven track record with Zango, and that we are going to revolutionize not only direct selling but the personal care industries. And I also just want to comment, Eric, one thing we've had some numerous conversations about is, men can be just as successful with this personal skincare industry as we can. We all have skin, and I think my husband's just as successful talking to strangers about this as I am. So don't put that roadblock if you are male that, you need a woman in front of you to peddle this product or present this opportunity for you.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. Shane Miskell, one of our distributors in our team, came up with a phrase he was trying. He lives up in northern Michigan, so, where the men are men and everyone else is too, maybe. I don't know. Sorry for all the UP people. That's a joke. But, and, he came up with this phrase. He'd walk up to a woman and say, hey, I'm a guy, obviously, and I'm just wondering, how important is skincare to a woman? And he says, almost universally, they'll get a big smile on their face, and they'll totally open up, and they'll talk to him. And it's everything, and it's important, and he'll just get them talking. And now the ice is broken, and they're ready to, well, why are you asking, And there's a very easy way, very comfortable way for him to bring this up, and, he's been having a blast with it. So for the guys on the phone, you might want to try that. Obviously, women, you can't pull it off because you can't claim ignorance like guys can, but I honestly think we may be in an advantage with this in some ways, building this as a man than a woman. So stay tuned for more information on that as we go.
Not only that, Eric, I think the samples that they have for men is going to be an incredible tool for you to be able to hand out for women to try. Mm-hmm. That's going to be awesome. As well as, this whole convention they talked about, it's our job to educate, to empower, and enlighten. That's our job. And, none of us are called here by chance or, there's a reason for it. We're all on this call for a reason and all with this company for a reason. So we are excited. Let's go to work.
Well, thanks, Glimpse, all my Glimpse girls. You're part of my growing legion of Glimpse divas on the team. So we're having a lot of fun together. Thanks for joining me on the call today and helping out and sharing your heart and your thoughts. And just love you guys. Appreciate you guys being a part of the cause and a part of my team specifically. So I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks so much, Eric. Thanks for having us.
So as we wrap this up, you stand at the brink of a position to do something never before done, no matter what you've already achieved in Zango. I fully expect to triple my business in the next 12 months. And, you have a chance to put yourself in a position for some choices that may not have been available to you. In the face of a world that's very constricting on choices right now, fight against it. Use the circumstances to gain instead of lose. And as Nisi mentioned earlier, don't just buy a ticket and watch this thing. There's a lot. I'd hate to sit and be this close to this fire and never really feel the heat. there's a big wave here about to happen, and certainly some people could sit there and watch it go by and barely get wet. And don't let it be you. So we'll see you guys soon, and thanks for tuning in. I'll open up the lines, and we can say goodbye for now.